everyone and welcome back to my channel. So we're doing a little pregnancy Q&A video now, and I'm going to just answer some of your questions from Instagram. If you've got any more questions, leave them down below and I'll answer those as well for you. So let's just jump straight into it. I can never figure out how to find the stickery things. Right. Okay. Somebody put, what's your birth plan / do you have one? Right, birth plans. I kind of think it's funny to have a birth plan for a first birth, because it's like, you've never done this before, you don't know how it's going to go, you don't know what your pain threshold is. You can have preferences, but planning it overly, I don't know, I find that a little bit strange, if I'm being honest. And this is coming from somebody who is like very controlling about things. But I think my plan is, generally, I'd like to stay home as long as I possibly can. I don't want to be like 2 centimetres and at the hospital, and I want to stay home for as long as I possibly can, and just try and kind of deal with the pain a little bit. That's definitely. And then I, in the hospital, would like to try just having gas and air, but I'm open to if anything else feels needed and I'm really struggling and I want something more, I want to know that that option is there for me, if that makes sense. So that's my plan at the moment. I did have a meeting with a midwife actually yesterday, which was really, really interesting, and we were talking about the idea of like a home birth, which I think if I did have more kids, I would really like to try that, but for a first, I think maybe not. So yeah, there's that. And I'm going to, on Sunday, go and have a tour of the maternity ward, and basically what they have here is an MLU, I think she said it was called, which is a midwife-led unit, I think it was, where it's a less kind of clinical, less hospital environment. They have a birth pool, that kind of thing, and you can do that if you'd like. So we're going to go and have a look at that, and I think that's the road that we're going to kind of go down. I'm not under like any consultant care or anything, I'm like low risk and everything's okay, so I think that's what I'm going to do, which I'm quite interested to see what that's like. Next question. Oh, if I could unlock my phone, that would be good. My sisters all think it's really funny to answer those question things and ask really stupid things to do with your bowel movements. It's so strange. Will you get maternity leave? So that's a really good question. Again, I'm kind of playing it by ear. I will have some time off inevitably, I'm going to have to. But because I'm self-employed, so we own a restaurant, I'm going to have to see how I go. I don't want to completely not go to work though for an extended time period, I think. Just like for myself, I don't think I'd like that. So we'll see how that goes. I will have like the first month or so off and then see how we go. And it being my own business, I can, you know, juggle things around a little bit, and I could take her with me if I needed to, and that kind of thing. And we'll see kind of how content a baby she is and just stuff like that, really. There's a question here. I can't see the whole question. Any pressure from family or mothers in pregnancy or unwanted advice? No, not really. I did feel like people were a bit funny about people who chose not to find out the gender of their baby, seem really fixated on not finding out and sort of want everybody to not find out. I thought that was a bit odd, but nothing really. No, so far not. With a breastfeeding thing, people can be a little bit forceful, I find, in their views. And my views on it personally are, I'm going to try and see how it goes because I understand that it is best. But if it's really hard going and if it's really stressing me out and if it's really making me feel upset, then I'm just going to bottle feed, and that's fine. I'm not going to let it become this like massive deal. That's kind of how I feel about that kind of thing. But no, not really. With names and stuff, it's tricky because we have decided on a name and we have told sort of a few people, but then when other people ask you, you don't want to say, because then people always do that thing where they'll say, oh, I went to school with somebody called that, she was really horrible. And you're like, cool, like, good for you. Which leads me on to the next question, names. I'm obviously not going to say what we're going to call her because I think that's a bit weird. I want it to just be a surprise. But we have decided on her name, we've decided on her middle name. It's a name that we've liked for years and years and years before we even had children. It's kind of been my go-to name ever since I can remember myself, really, if I had a daughter. We did toy with a few other things that we liked, but it's just our favourite and we really, really like it. And I think girl names are so much easier than boy names as well. Boy names are hard, like we couldn't agree on any that we liked. How are you feeling? How am I feeling? Generally okay. The only niggly things are the little bit of sickness in the morning. See, what's going on? Yeah, a little bit of sickness in the morning still. Well, still, it went and came back. Then back pain I get a lot, but that might be to do with the fact that I do stuff a lot. And I also get really bad heartburn when I lie down at night, so sleeping is somewhat problematic. But other than that, yeah, okay. Not too bad actually, considering how far along I am. Like, we've got a month to go. It's crazy. Let's do one more question. Do you feel like your body image has bettered or worsened since being pregnant? There's loads of like random people just going hi, and it's like, that's not a question. But not people that follow us. So that's a really good question. I've spoken a little bit about that on here, and I was doing really well up until this point, but I'm starting to struggle a little bit more now, because obviously, like, I am bigger now because we're in the home stretch kind of thing. My bump still, I don't think is like massive for somebody that's like 9 months pregnant. I still think it's like fairly neat, and my clothes still pretty much fit, and I haven't weighed myself in a little while, but when I went a few weeks ago, I had only gained like a stone, which I didn't think was too bad. But I don't know, I feel a bit like ugh now. I feel like my face looks really round, my boobs are just massive, and I just feel a bit not so kind of great. And people talk about your size all the time, and it's just weird. Like, there was constant talk that I was really neat and really small, which then made me a bit paranoid that, like, was the baby really small, which did turn out to actually be true. And I had to go and have an extra scan, and it was like a whole thing. So that, but then literally 2 days after that, a friend of ours who we hadn't seen for ages then was telling me that I was absolutely massive and like ready to pop, and I hate when people say that as well. It's so ugh. And going on about that, yeah, I was really, really big. And I was like, am I? I'm like, having to go to appointments because I'm measuring really small. And then I was like, is the rest of me really big though? And it gets in your head. I mean, you let it, but it does kind of get in your head a little bit. So that's kind of a bit, ugh. But other than that, not as much as I thought it would. I am getting a bit peed off about the stretch marks though. I knew I'd get them, and I find them really just annoying. They're not like really purple or anything, but they're just, I don't know. I've never had purple stretch marks ever. They always appear white, and I know that people say white's what they faded into, but I don't know if it's my skin just doesn't show up the purple ones, because I've never had any purple ones. And I would see them if I had them, wouldn't I? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you've got any other questions down below, and I will see you all in my next video.